Yeah, no one can accuse me of talking to a teleprompter this week, because I'm just not. The GitHub Universe agenda is now live. Updates from Microsoft Ignite and the Meta Connect events, and 1.0 of an application near and dear to my heart, my second brain, you could say. All that and more on this episode of The Download. Welcome back to another episode of The Download. I'm your host, Christina Warren, Senior Developer Advocate at GitHub, and this is the show where we cover the latest developer news and open source projects. My shirt this week, I think it's from a Microsoft collab collection, but my hair and makeup are courtesy of Microsoft Ignite, where I just got finished hosting day 2 of that event. We've got more details of that later on. Go ahead and please like and subscribe on this. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I did not have time to write a proper script because of everything else I had going on this week, but we wanted to get a show out, so I'm gonna be kind of like freewheeling this, doing a little bit of freestyle. But let's just go ahead and get into the news. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that GitHub Universe, yes, is going to be taking place in like a month. So it's going to be November 9th and 10th in San Francisco, California. And exciting news, the agenda is now live. So if you can see what events are going to be happening in person, what the schedule will be, but also if you can't join us in person, be sure to register online, githubuniverse.com. It's free. You can check out all the sessions. I'm going to be there. A bunch of your other GitHub favorite people will be there. If you happen to be there in person, please say hello. But this is good stuff. Links in the description down below to that agenda. Good stuff. All right, next up, speaking of events, I just got done hosting 2 days of Microsoft Ignite, which is a great conference aimed at developers and IT pros, and there was some really good announcements out of that. I've got a link in the show notes and the description to all the news, but the big thing I want to talk about, there was a ton of stuff about AI, and we've been talking on this show for the past couple of months about some of the different art AI generators, things like dall-e 2 and Stable Diffusion. And at Microsoft Ignite, Microsoft actually previewed an app. It's in private preview yet. I don't even have access, but it's going to be coming out soon, called Microsoft Designer. This is actually pretty cool. So under the hood, it has dall-e 2, which is OpenAI's algorithm for creating art generation based on plain text, common natural language prompts. But you can use Microsoft Designer to basically enter in some prompts. It'll give you some looks of some art and also give you some different options. So it's basically like an AI generative tool for the masses that'll help make designers out of kind of anybody, and also help you, generate, thumbnails for your blog posts or your YouTube videos or whatever. Anyway, I think the potential is really cool. Like I said, links to all the Ignite stuff is in the links down below, but I think Microsoft Designer, that's definitely an app I'm definitely going to want to check out. As if Microsoft Ignite wasn't enough, there was also some announcements out of Facebook, or excuse me, Mark, Meta. Okay, the company is called Meta. I will probably always get that wrong. But Meta had an event where they were showing off some of the latest things coming to their VR platform. And they not only introduced a new Meta Oculus Pro device, which is super expensive, but I guess could be cool for someone, but they announced that they're bringing some really cool things to the Meta Quest 2 platform, which is their more consumer-oriented thing. So there are a bunch of games that are coming, like Among Us, and actually most exciting, I think, for me and maybe a lot of people in the audience, Xbox Cloud Gaming is going to be coming to the Meta Quest 2 at some point in the future. You can also do stuff with Windows 11 and Microsoft 365, so that's cool. But I've got more details about a lot of those announcements linked down below as well. On the GitHub front, this was actually really cool. We've got a blog that I've got linked to in the description down below, showing off how you can view GitHub's code scanning features inside VS Code and GitHub Codespaces. So if you didn't know, GitHub has some code scanning features that will basically let you know if it finds vulnerabilities or other problems in your code. And using a plugin that is known as the SARIF viewer extension, you can actually view those findings, both if you're running VS Code locally or if you're running GitHub Codespaces in the cloud or connected to a local VS Code instance. So this is really awesome, and it's a really great way, I think, to take advantage of some of these code scanning features, but to be able to view it where you're doing your code, right? So it's not one of those things where, in the past you like check it in and then I've maybe got to, be viewing it on GitHub. Now I can actually see it alongside my code as I'm coding and then make changes if I need to. So that I think is really slick. But more details about that in the link in the description down below and a link to that plugin. I really, really like that. And now it's time for my pick of the week. Okay, so this is about an application that's been around for a couple of years. It's called Obsidian. It is known as kind of like a second brain app, and so these are this kind of classification of note-taking apps that go beyond just normal note-taking. Like you can have plugins to your web browser or to your file systems and to other things and really make your notes kind of searchable and syncable, and you can capture things from a lot of different areas, and it can actually get really, really nerdy. I really like it. Obsidian, I should note, it is not open source. However, the releases are available on GitHub. A lot of the community feedback is on GitHub, and the plugin ecosystem is largely on GitHub. But the reason I wanted to mention this is that it just hit 1.0, and I've gotten a lot of value out of this app. It's available for Mac, Windows, Linux, iOS. I think it's on Android. I really, really like it. And I wanted to give congrats to that team because I think it's really, really good. There are some other applications in this kind of same category. There's Logseq, there's Roam Research. I suppose Emacs in org mode would count, but I, for one, I can't figure Emacs out, but I can figure out Obsidian. I've gotten a lot of value out of it. I'd love to know your thoughts if you use this or any other apps in this kind of genre. Let me know in the comments down below. But also let me know your thoughts on any of the other stories we covered this week, and let me know about the stuff you're excited to see at GitHub Universe. If you liked that episode, please give us a like and go ahead and subscribe to GitHub on YouTube for all your nerd needs. See you next time.